Hi there, Aprille Franks-Hunt here, CEO of Women Recharged and your host of Get Recharged TV, bringing to you this special edition of Get Recharged TV with the phenomenal, the fabulous, as seen on Oprah, Good Morning America, Larry King Live, CNN, and the list goes on and on and on. Also co-author of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series, author of 6 best-selling books, Lisa Nichols. I am super excited to bring to you this telephone interview that I was able to have with her just several days ago. Super excited. She is going to impart some wisdom on overcoming obstacles that everyone can relate to, that most people can relate to. Also, how do you discover your greatness? How do you continue on? How do you break through the barriers of life so that you can live out your purpose, your dreams, your hopes, your wishes? They can no longer sit on the mantle, sit on, paper, sit on in old journals and in the sky. How can you manifest those things? And also at the end of the interview, Lisa blew me away with some crazy offer, basically handed me $18,000. Yes. So that I can help 30 of you live out your hopes, dreams, and passions as well. Enjoy the interview. It's almost an hour long, so you get some really good details in there. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll see you next time on Get Recharged TV.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is your host, Aprille Franks-Hunt, CEO of Women Recharged. And today we are honored with the presence of a woman who I personally and professionally admire. She is an awesome woman, a vessel, a empire builder, life changer. There's so many words and feelings that you could use to describe the woman who we are about to introduce. She is absolutely about motivating the masses and inspiring, leading, and helping people transform their lives. And I want to introduce to you the fabulous Lisa Nichols.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you listen to this recording. Hello, hello, hello. I'm excited to be with you.
Thank you so much, and I'm excited to have you. Super, super excited. So, Lisa, first of all, just really kind of want to share with our audience who hasn't heard me tell this story before, just kind of how I came in contact with your teachings and a bit of the mindset. And this really occurred for me after I was fired in 2007, and I was feeling a little humdrum. And I kept hearing people tell me, you need to watch The Secret. You need to watch The Secret. And I was like, what is The Secret? I have what's The Secret? Just tell me what it is. I don't need to watch it, And that was when I first saw Lisa, and she really inspired me from her words in that it was so much more than the video. I made everyone watch it, and it became a ritual at that point in my life. And so that's a little bit why I'm so excited to have Lisa here and for her to share with you all some of the things that has helped her and for her to impart her wisdom and knowledge on all of us today. So that's really my initial contact. So, Lisa, can you share with us just in your kind of rewinding back to your 20-year-old self, did you imagine you being at this point in your life? What did you think you'd be doing when you were 20? At this point in your life, what was your vision for yourself?
Well, so that's not too long ago. Actually, looking at it, it's nearly 17 years ago. I'll be 47 this year. I'm proud to say, excited to be the age I am. At 20, I was really, oh my God, I was this is light years away from where I thought it'd be. I think some 20-year-olds, they have an idea of what they want to be when they grow up. Sure. At 20, I was still growing up. I mean, I was so far away from that. I had just gotten kicked out of college. I got kicked out of college because I couldn't afford to stay. It was a financial decision that the college made on my behalf that I could not afford to be there. And so I was working as a receptionist, and I didn't do that very well. In my 20s, I actually got fired from jobs. So I jokingly that I found out what I wanted to be when I grew up by finding out what I really did bad first. So it was 21, 25. It was a difficult time for me because I was so unclear as to what my gifts were. I was so unclear as to what contribution to the world I could make. I was unclear about just how am I going to pay my rent? How how do I get by? And so no, the short answer is absolutely not. I had no idea that I'd have a global impact. I had no idea that my work would be, in 156 different languages. I had no idea that I'd have 6 bestsellers. No way. When I was 18, I took my last English course in my freshman year of college and received a fail. And my English teacher said, Lisa, you're the weakest writer I've ever met in my entire life. So to be the weakest writer my English professor has ever met in her entire life, and then to be a part of, to produce, co-author 6 bestsellers, no, heck no, I didn't see that coming, And then in the same year, I took a speech class, and I got a D-, and my speech teacher said, Miss Nichols, I recommend you never speak in public, that you get a desk job. And then now to have a global audience, this year alone, I'm going to go to, I think, 9 different countries and speak. So, no, girl, had no idea. Couldn't fathom the life that I have now. So, your greatest days are ahead of you. And I always say that I just kept leaning toward that jump in my belly. Every time my belly jumped, like, ooh, that feels good. Ooh, that feels good. I literally just leaned toward the ooh, that feels good and tried to do more of it. And I was willing to do it for free first. Most people don't want to do for free. I was willing to do what I love for free first because I was used to being broke. I'd mastered being broke. I knew how to make a dime go in 20 different directions. So I wasn't worried about eating beanies and weenies. I had no problems, having a head of cabbage. I remember one time I had a head of cabbage, 2 carrots, and an onion in my refrigerator and water. That's it. I was like, I love stir-fried vegetables then. I love it. and ate stir-fried vegetables until I got paid. So no, life drastically different, unimaginable.
I think a really good point that you made, and that people can relate to is that I think people think that they have to know all of the answers, or you feel like you're lost or you have no purpose or your life has no meaning, if you don't have all of the answers. And so, a great point that you made about 17 years is really not that long ago to have gone through such an awesome journey and transformation, and to be helping so many men and women through their own transformations as well. So I think that's really a great point, that you don't have to have all the answers, and that as we continue to go through our life and experience different things, that really kind of forms us, and we kind of are giving little pieces of our purpose and what we should be doing and how we should be aligning ourselves. So I think that's
absolutely. And to stay, you got 2 things. You got to stay hungry and hopeful. You have to do that. If you stop being hungry, it's going to stop happening. You stop being hopeful, it's going to stop happening. And to always be coachable. I say hungry, hopeful, and coachable. The reason why my life was able to excel was because I was very coachable. I realized and I knew that I didn't learn in the traditional manner very well. I tell people I'm not a fast learner. I'm a thorough learner. So I don't learn in the traditional manner very well, meaning in a school setting. You go over it 1 or 2 times. I probably didn't get it yet. I'm going to be very honest with you. I thought I've always been a C average student, so I never excelled in any area of my life. Not one area did I get above a C+. And so there was no area of my life academically that showed that I excelled. What I found later in life was that my learning style is different. I need to hear it 4 or 5 times. I need to tell you what I thought I heard you say. I need to do all that. And so I was that kid that just a young adult, in my 20s, that when I realized I just need to hear it several times, I would become very, very coachable. I'd say, you know what, and this is the only way I get jobs because I had no college degree. I didn't have a long-standing career anywhere. So when I go in for an interview, I would say, listen, I might not know that because guaranteed whatever I was applying for as a job, I didn't know how to do it. I was a hustler. I'm trying to just come out the ghetto. I'm trying to get my life right. And I would say I don't have that skill set. I'm really, really coachable. And now as an employer, now I have a staff of people, I have a team, I hire people all the time. If someone came into me and they said, no, I don't know that skill set, but I'm extremely coachable. Do you know I will pick the person who's coachable over the person coachable and open and underqualified than the person who's qualified and not coachable?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I was hungry, hopeful, and coachable.
Absolutely. And I think, a great lesson in that also is, I don't have a college degree either, and I actually dropped out of high school in my senior year, and it wasn't because I was pregnant. I just wasn't being fed. And I think it's really important for people to acknowledge sometimes what seems to be a struggle really isn't a struggle. There's just a difference. There's just a different way to go about doing that specific thing. And so I think that that's awesome. And I think a lot of people do share that. One thing I wanted to ask you, because a lot of times as women in particular, and people in particular really, but women just because that's who we're focusing on here, we have those moments where we think that, life has no meaning. There's some situation that we can't see out of. There is no light there at the end of the tunnel because there is no tunnel. There is no way out. Lisa, can you share what your in the valley moment was, and how did you find a way to get out of that?
I love the way you say my in the valley moment as if I didn't have several. That's sweet. And, my life was like the rolling hills for a while. So
okay.
I've had several. And the only reason why I can share that with you so openly is because when I wrote my book, No Matter What, I shared the things that I thought I'd take to my grave. I shared the most shameful, embarrassing, regretful moments of my life. And I had to get over it. I mean, when that book sold in a different language, every language that it sold in, I would get sick. Every time I got an email that said, Bulgaria just bought your book, I'd get nauseous. Russia just bought your book. China just bought your book. I get nauseous because I knew now they knew my mess in those different countries. And no matter what moment, I'll define the first most riveting that I still use as my grounding source. It was when my son Jelani was 8 months old, and we ran out of Pampers. You probably have heard me share this before. Ran out of Pampers for him, and I went to the ATM to get money out. And in order to get $20 out, you have to have $20 in.
Yeah.
I had about $11.48 in, and for the next 2 days, I had to wrap Jelani in a towel, and I was just mortified that I didn't even have Pampers to put on my son, that I had to wrap him in a towel for 2 days, and I remember sitting on my couch, looking down at my son, crying, saying, "Don't worry, baby. Mommy will never be this broke again. Don't worry, baby." And I was just on a television show or just talking to some producers, and they asked what was my moment. And I said it was that moment when I couldn't afford to put Pampers on my son. And, I've had several moments subsequent to that, but that was the one when, people look at my life now. I have the pleasure of running a multi-million-dollar company. I have a global brand, and I do a lot of TV, a lot of radio, a lot of traveling. But realistically, I'm a single mom who's keeping a promise to her son. I mean, if you really want to break it down to the core, I'll go back those 18 years and say, I told my son, I simply said, I'm not doing it. It's not happening anymore. And so I'm very clear. I'm very clear that those moments occur to be your launch pad, not your stopping point. I mean, they occur to be your launch pad. What I did from that point is I'll say the word, I got hungry at a different level. I got hungry at a level that most people would stop. I'm willing to do what most people won't do. I'll say what most people won't say. I'll transform in ways that most people won't transform. I'll kill off parts of myself. And I say that sounds very harsh, but I will kill off parts. Procrastination, if it's getting in my way, even though that's been my behavior maybe for 5 years, if that's stopping me from that thing, then I'm going to manage my character of procrastination and kill it off. I'm going to say, look, you can't fit in my future. That whole insecurity in my skin and not feeling good enough, okay, I wore you for 25 years, but you are preventing me from my breathtaking future. I got to kill you off.
Yeah.
You know, and you know what I mean? It's like taking personal inventory of every part of me, and if there's a part of me that doesn't serve my future, not my past, not even my now. You got to understand what I'm saying. Not my past and not my now. I'm talking about the 2020 version of me. See, you got to see it, the 2020 version of you. What does she look like? What does she want to do? Who is she becoming? How does she love? How does she walk? How does she talk? How does she carry herself? How does she dress? What does her hair even look like? How does she love people who are difficult to love? How does she act in a board meeting? You got to see who she is, and you may not be able to see you as her, but you find her physically somewhere. You find a woman that you go, oh, my God, I want to be like her when I grow up. You know, and I still find women like that and I'm, 40, and I'm not mid-40s. I still find women that are in their 60s and their season like, oh, I want to be like that when I grow up. And I emulate. I go, okay, not faking it, but I go, how is she poised? How does she love people?
Yes.
How does she respond? Oh, she's not reactionary. She's responding. She don't react to people. She responds to people. Oh, she loves the unlovable really, really well. And then I take on what does the Lisa version of that look like. And then I start working on her right now.
Wow. Okay, you hit several different things. I want to just go back really quickly to that in the valley, that no matter what moment you are going to – you made that promise to your son. You're fulfilling constantly that promise. I think that's important for a lot of women. I used to be a single mother for a very long time. My daughter's 18 now, and I had her when I was 18. It's just so crazy that she's 18. And, when I look at her, I totally can relate, and I know that the people listening can hear and feel, that moment because, if anybody who has experienced struggle financially, when you have children, I think that really hits home real hard because it's that one thing that one job you have, whether you have a job or not, that you know that you cannot fail. And I think when you have those moments where you feel like you are not adequate, I think that's really an absolute a moment that makes you say, this is not something that I want, and it's that no matter what mindset, I think that can propel people to continue to move forward. And I love what you said about the 2020 version of yourself. You have to really, and I want to ask you a question, a sidebar to that, but before I do, people really have to, I think, acknowledge the fact that those people are out there that you can not copycat, not, like you said, not fake it, but that you can learn from, and being, like you said, hungry, hopeful, and coachable. That coachable is really important through the success journey, just to say, this is a version of what I would like to see myself. And then, like you said, putting the Lisa spin. So you put your spin, on whatever it is that you want that to be. Real quickly, Lisa, who gave you permission to be great? Was this I know you talk a lot about your grandmother and how instrumental she was, and, I remember watching a video of you, I think you were at the Awesomeness Conference.
Yes.
And you were talking about you writing speeches and giving it to her. And she's saying, it's great that you're giving it to me, but, if you're going to be a speaker, you might want to share that with somebody else. So can you, was your grandmother the only person, or what was that something that said, I'm more than just Lisa Nichols from this area. I'm more than just, a single mother. I can be great. Where did that come from?
My grandmother is definitely an instrumental part because she was my safe space that I took all my dreams to. So when I first dreamed of being a speaker, she was the person. Every time I write a speech, I'd take it to her, I'd read it to her, and whenever she went, she liked a particular part of that, I'd highlight it, and then we'd tuck it away in this little black manila folder, I'll never forget, that had Lisa's speeches on the front of it. And after a while, she asked me, do you plan to inspire millions? I said, yes. She goes, well, you might want to share your speeches with somebody other than grandmother if you want to do that. So while she was my safe space, I got to tell you, my father's my best friend. He's been my best friend since I was about 14, and my mom is my biggest cheerleader. So they were the first people volunteering at my trainings, but I also created a community that believed in me. I initially, for 5 years, I had excuses on why I couldn't be a speaker, and my biggest excuse was that I had a young child and that I was overweight. And so I thought, when I handle those, then I have permission to stand on stage and inspire others to live their dreams, because my son's father wasn't around, and I'm at the time I was like nearly 80 pounds overweight, and so I'm going, I can't tell you how to live their dreams. I have these two issues. And so I've really learned, don't ever wait until it's perfect, because you'll never start. But inside of that, I waited for 5 years, and then the gnawing at my soul. God gnawed at my soul. I tell people, and you won't get a good night's sleep until you say yes to your greatness. I don't care how deep you think you sleep. I don't care how great you think you sleep. You will not get a good night's sleep until you say yes to your greatness, until you play full out. And that was what was really, God was really just gnawing at me and just kind of, poking at me and poking at my mediocrity, because I had by this time, I'm in my early 30s, and I have I've created a great version of success. It wasn't what I was supposed to do, but I had moved myself up. I'm a talker. I moved myself up to the point where I was making six figures by the time I was 30. So life had turned around. I'm supporting my child, and my cheerleading squad was my community and my family. But I had to give myself permission. I had to say, inside this jacket called weight, being overweight, being a single mom, being an African-American woman from South Central Los Angeles, all that stuff that you think people won't appreciate about you, that makes you human, it makes you normal, it makes you in the journey with them. And if you've ever looked at my brand and ever heard my speeches, you really hear me talking, I'm in this journey with you. My goal is that you feel like a sister friend is talking to you. And I'm not talking to you from a mountaintop. I'm talking to you right here with you. And I realized it was in my similarities, it was in the breakdowns that I get to teach the breakthroughs. And so though my family was a big cheerleader for me, I had to really sit with myself. I had to become intimately connected with Lisa. I had to be willing to cut the shackles of blame, shame, guilt, regret, and anger. I had to stop holding my future hostage to my past. And that was big. I was holding my future hostage to my past. I had to stop, cut those shackles to blame, shame, guilt, regret, and anger, and say, listen, I am intimately aware of each one of these emotions, and each one of you have occupied real estate in my mind and my body, and I'm sorry. It is time to evict you for the sake of my future.
Yes, that is beautiful. I think so many people listening, and so many people who should be listening, have that waiting on validation, permission from other people, from just things that we allow to keep us kind of in bondage into whatever our current situation is, or wherever we walked from. And I also think sometimes we get stuck in the story of, I'm just this, I'm just a girl from here, I'm just a little black girl from there, I'm just this, I didn't graduate, I didn't do this, I got 5 kids, or whatever the case may be. I think people get stuck in that, and I think they are looking for validation from all these different areas without first, like you said, that internal approval. You have to give yourself the stamp of, I am good enough today, and continue to propel forward. So I think that that's an awesome point. Lisa, one of the things that really helped me when I first watched The Secret, when I first saw you, was the entire thought process behind. Now, I'm a faithful person. I believe in God. I'm such a believer. But honestly, I have to be real. It wasn't until I saw that movie and I heard you all speak that I really connected. I can have whatever I want. It really wasn't. And it's not to say that, growing up in the church and things that I was learning wasn't resonating, and I'm sure that people can relate to this, but it wasn't put in a way for me that I understood that
you
I
could digest it.
Absolutely.
Right, you can digest it now. Right. And I always say, and I love God, I was raised in church, but it took out the these and thous and moved past the holy guacamole conversation and said, listen, your mind is powerful. It was a very direct conversation. If we spent 52 minutes on one scripture, you might get it.
Right.
And without ever saying a scripture title. Look, let's just apply this to your everyday life. I wish that my pastor said when I was 21 years old, I just really come back to God and really come back to wanting to explore my spiritual journey. And I remember this pastor, she literally was a changing point in my life. She said, listen, first of all, you're only held accountable for that you know. So don't try to know the whole Bible, because then you got to live the whole Bible. Just learn one scripture and then live that scripture. If you learn one scripture and live that scripture, you're all right. And I was like, oh, okay. And she said, what scripture serves you? And so looking at that, I wished, that we could spend 52 minutes focused on each part of my life and just laser on that. We just really talked about the power of the mind. See, and this is no hokey pokey. This is no woo woo. This is no sprinkle fairy dust, no potion lotion, no magic wand. Let me tell you, trust and believe. Have notice. You've been given notice. Your future is a physical manifestation of the thoughts you're thinking now. Your future is a physical manifestation of the words that will fall off your tongue today and yesterday. You want to mind your future, you mind your thoughts. You mind your words, because your words are going to form. Your thoughts are going to form your words are going to form your actions lead into your behaviors lead into your life experience. Trust and believe you have been put on notice. Now, if you want a better life, don't look to nobody else. You first clean your thoughts, spring clean your thoughts. Whatever time of the year it is, spring clean your thoughts.
Yes, I love that. And another thing, too, what I think is really powerful, not only are the thoughts that you're thinking today impact your future, but I always ask people when I'm coaching, look around, look up. What you see, you manifested that. You brought that on. That might be a hard pill to swallow, because you may not be where you want to be right now, but you created this. You created that relationship, that job or lack thereof. You created that. And so I think it's really important. Go ahead.
No, you're right on point. Sorry to cut you off, April, but you're right on point. Here's what I want to say, because when we say that, now mind you, I've done a few talks about law of attraction. I've been a few places. I've talked to people all over the world about this conversation, and I know where people go to, so I know someone is going to this place right now. You mean I made this man abuse me? You mean I made these people at this job treat me bad? You mean I made no. You don't have the power to make anybody do anything. So first of all, take that, move away from that conversation. You can't make anyone do anything. So when you hear April, when you hear myself saying that you're creating your reality, sometimes the part that you create is accepting it. The part you create is doing nothing about it. See, I was in a relationship, and I was 5 months from being married, and we had picked out the invitations. I put the deposit on the yacht. We're getting married on the yacht, and everything is looking grand. And out of the blue, I woke up one night about 3 o'clock in the morning, 3:20 in the morning, and my then fiance was choking me. like out of nowhere. Just we didn't fight, we didn't argue. Just didn't. I found out later that he was bipolar and that he wasn't taking his medication. And but in the moment, I didn't know anything. And he was choking me. And 3 days later, he threw me 3 feet across the room. And I look up, and I'm in an abusive relationship. I don't know how I got there. And all I knew was, I started looking at the law of attraction. How do I attract this? How do I attract this? And while I recognize that I can't control who he is, what I can control is my response to him. What I can't control is how this relay relationship is a relay. No one can do anything to you unless you subscribe to that treatment. You have to subscribe to the treatment. And sometimes, even though you don't like it in your mind, you're not saying anything with your mouth or your actions. And so I just want to clarify that, because people will start resisting this conversation. They'll start negating and say, well, y'all just don't know my story. No, right. I do, yes. Sweetheart. I know it. Yes. I know it. And there's some things that were done to you. Now, there's that person, that child, who until they have the power to shift things in their own lives, they really are subject to their environment, subject to their parents, subject, and then you move to a place. So for a moment, for the sake of this conversation, let's give a pass to children, because they're not fully developed. When we have the conversation about the law of attraction and your thoughts form your behaviors, your thoughts form your reality. To a minimized degree, that's children. But until you have every lobe in your brain has been fully developed, then you can't be held accountable for the full form of thought. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Right, but that's why teenage boys are ding-dongs until they get about 25. Let's just be honest. Let me give every mother out there a reprieve who have any children, especially if you have a son. Your daughter, until about 18, 19, and then she'll start shifting. But for the men child, 25. So when you say, why did you do that? Half the time he don't know. Just know. Just know. And so it takes until 25 for all the parts of the brain to kind of get to a place called, okay, they're developed. You're still learning. 18, 19 for a girl, and then from that point forward, now you're held accountable. Now, before then, you need to be held responsible for your choices. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. But when we have this conversation at this level of responsibility, I just want to have those caveats so people don't turn us off, sweetheart.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate you for clarifying that. Can you, while you were talking, something just came to mind. Can you please respond to, I get a lot of people that get stuck in wanting to blame their parents for this, their parents for that. Listen, I grew up my father was an alcoholic. He beat my mother. My grandfather was an alcoholic. He beat my grandmother. I could play the blame game if I choose to.
Sure.
But can you please speak to the people who are having a hard time letting go or accepting the fact that it was what it was? How do people move forward out of that mindset of woe is me and this happened to me?
Right. Well, first, I love you, sis. I love you. You can hear my voice. I love you. And first of all, some of your greatest breakthroughs will not be served with warm cookies and milk. This is one of those times. Number one, a dysfunctional parent, whether that's a parent that was to the extreme like you experienced, April, where your father and your grandfather were physically and emotionally abusive, that's that extreme that everyone can see and understand is wrong. But you also have that parent who isn't abusive, but they're detached. You may have had the mom who didn't hug you or the father who didn't say, I love you. And that level of hurt is just as great in a different way as some of the other things that people have experienced. First of all, recognize that happened in, let's say, your chapter 4. You are the author of your autobiography. That's the reality. No one else can write your life story but you. You're the author. You have the pen in your hand. No one can write your story but you. Now you have characters who pop in, so they add They add color and flavor to your story, but only you can write your story. So let's set that back. Now, as a child, you have a parent that's dysfunctional, that's detached, that's hurtful, that's abusive, that's not there. You may not even you don't even have an experience with your father because he wasn't there. You don't have an experience with your mom, and that's the experience you had, was none. And so the experience is an experience of abandonment. Mm-hmm. So let's say, for the sake of your autobiography, that's your chapter 4. That's your chapter 4. That period of time is your chapter 4. So you can't rewrite chapter 4. So people make a couple of mistakes. Number one, they keep trying to rewrite the chapter. They keep trying to, how can I make it right? So they're trying to make up for it. You can't make up for your choices that your grandfather and your father did, April. That's their choices. All you have to do is learn, how do I live with them and have peace and peace of mind in that experience, meaning you don't have to validate it, like it. You just have to find your own peace, having had it. So number one is people try to change the story or try to outrun the story. You can't outrun your life. Everywhere you go, there you are. Everywhere you go, there you will be. So stop trying to outrun your story. And when I say outrun, you want to be a super achiever, which is absolutely okay. I'm a super achiever, but be a super achiever for the right reason. Nothing to prove, nothing to defend, nothing to protect. Be it because that's who you naturally are, not because you're trying to make up for something. That's when you're trying to outrun your past. I got to do this because. No, you got to do this because you want to do it. So that's another thing about your chapter 4. Make sure you're not trying to outrun it. Make sure you're not trying to be a great parent because you choose to be a great parent. And by the way, your father being abusive or your father being an absentee father, your mom not saying she loves you, could have been the initial motivator on why you're such a great mom. But then don't allow it to be your only motivation. You got to find your own source. See, when I first was driven to be successful, I wanted to be successful because people told me I wouldn't be successful. So my motivation was, I'll show you motivation. And that's okay because that's a driver. But at some point, you need to own your own destiny. Stop giving it to someone else. So this chapter 4 in your life, the reason why people struggle today because of stuff that happened in their past is because, picture this. I want you to picture this. And just really open your mind for me right now. I want you to picture a book, and it's your life story. And I want you to flip through the first 23 chapters, and it's all written. It's written about your father. It's written about your mom. It's written about you in high school. It's written about your first love. Written about all that stuff, all those pivotal stories, those key stories are all in that book. Now I want you to start flipping to chapter 24, 25, 26, and 29, and there's all blank pages. So it's blank. So you see the first 23 chapters, they're full, printed pages, typed, 9 font, great margins, great. And then chapter 24 through 50 are all blank, okay? I want you to see that. This is your story. Let me tell you what happens, April. The reason why people have a difficult time moving forward is because they take chapter 4 and they literally, instead of writing chapter 24, they cut and paste chapter 4 into chapter 24.
Oh, yes.
So you're not writing new chapters. You're reliving old chapters. That's how you could ask the question, man, how could I be here again? How could I be here again? Because you cut and paste an old experience. You bring forth. I'm exploring relationship now. So I have a person of interest in my life. That's what I call them yet. I'm not ready to say I'm dating. and slow baby steps, slow baby steps, slow baby steps. That's right. And I constantly tell him, you're my next, not my ex, and I will not make my next paper my ex.
That's right.
It blows him away. He's like, wow, thank you. I said, so anytime, listen to this. This is what I tell him, because I'm just a woman with him. I'm not a thought leader. I'm a woman, Exactly. And so what I tell him, when I see old patterns coming up in me, I bust myself out. When I see an old pattern come, I say, oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. That's an old fear coming up in a present relationship. I'm cutting and pasting chapter 14 into my chapter 27. Let me erase that. Sorry, let's do a do-over. Let's write our own experience.
Yes, I
Girl,
love
honey,
that.
she's like, I don't know who I'm dealing with because I'm working on myself. I'm working on myself. I'm working on myself in your presence even. So I need to say this out loud because I'm a sneaky little rat. I can trick myself. My Band-Aids, my issues got Swarovski crystals on them. So my excuses are even sexy, because I'm brilliant. I'm not gonna minimize that. I'm brilliant. I'm sneaky. I can trick myself. And when I say sneaky not for you, sneaky for me. I can make great excuses to not show up, great excuses to stay single, great excuses to, shrink and be in my shell, great excuses to play small. Because, see, my small is somebody else's ginormous. Trust and believe. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
So, anyway, I jump all over the place. I hope in some way I answered your question, baby.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. I love that. Well, congratulations on your newness.
Person of interest.
Person of interest, on your person of interest. Congratulations. I think that's awesome. Let me ask you, when as you're going through all this, well, hold on. Let me back up just a minute. For the people who we were just speaking to with living in the past, I think Lisa gave an awesome example of you cannot cut and paste. You have to rewrite, begin anew. You have to. The chapter is written, it's sealed. You cannot edit it. You have to really propel forward and move forward. Lisa,
and recognize and what that looks like. So it's not theoretical for you. What that looks like is if you're finding you're having the same uncomfortable experience again, then you're bringing an old thought pattern, an old fear. A lot of times when you're in that space, you're not running toward possibility. You're trying to outrun fear. And it's really important to understand. You're not running toward, if I do something in my relationship now that causes me to shrink then I'm not running toward great love. I'm trying to outrun being hurt. So
absolutely.
You got to understand, are you running toward what you want, or are you running from what you're trying to avoid? Now, that's a very basic question, but it's very profound and deep. And if you look at that around your money, are you running toward abundance or prosperity? Or are you running from being broke? I'm just working so I'm not broke, because that's a fear-based motivation will never land you where you think you want to be. Okay, sorry. I can teach on each one of these points for hours, so just make me quiet. And
no, you're fine. That's a great distinction. No, that is an awesome distinction that people need to make.
And most people will live never knowing that distinction. They will live and die never knowing that distinction.
Yes. So please, that is one you need to write down, share it on Facebook, Twitter, and everywhere else, and live it. And answer that question honestly for yourself. I think, too, Lisa, a lot of people are afraid to know who they are. I think we have all these expectations of the world, love me, respect me, honor me, do this, do that, and then we don't, as humans, have those same expectations of ourselves, but we expect everyone else to give us all these things. But we don't. But it doesn't exist from within. So they're treating us exactly what they see is what we get. It's what we get
You're
back.
Absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
So yeah, you have to get in deep with you. We have just a few more minutes with Lisa, and I have a couple more questions I really want her to shed some light on. And one question that I get all the time, because people hear me say constantly about, I'm real protective of my space. I don't do negative people. I just can't. It irks me, and I just rather disassociate myself. My husband says I live in a bubble sometimes. So my question is, was there a time when, I know you shared, that you built a support system around you, but was there a time where people were telling you, you can't do this, who do you think you are to do this? And, you're never going to make that outside of the school, outside of your teachers, but people that, that you see every day or friends that you talk to.
Oh, my God. My family had a family meeting about me that did not include me. I think, in these days, that was almost 20 years ago. These days they would call it an intervention meeting. You know how they have that intervention? They have a show called Intervention. They literally, wondering, because I had a 6-figure income with benefits and vacation and a 3-year-old child, and I was willing to walk away from all that to live my dreams. Mm-hmm. And so they thought, he is truly gone cuckoo now. So absolutely, the first 10 years of my career, though my mom and my dad would volunteer at events, I couldn't get any friends or family to come because they thought You want to be a speaker. That's not even a career. It's not an industry. There's no training for it. There's no certification for it. It didn't make sense. And then initially I admit my first 12 years in the industry, all I did was work with teenagers. And so they're like, you want to train teens? They don't even like adults, So yeah, I had a bunch of naysayers, a bunch of people worried about my future. It's not that they were hating on me. It's not that they were, they just were concerned. Like, we don't really know. Let me tell you something. I want you to hear this because you may have come to this call and listen to this interview for this one line right here. Everything else will be gravy. This is, if no one else can see your vision, if no one else can hold on to your vision, it's because God didn't give your vision to them. God gave your vision to you.
Yes. Absolutely.
See, let your family and your friends off the hook. Let them just be your family and friends. Quit trying to convert them to your customer and convert them to your fans. Convert them. See, I was smart enough at some point, I got it, and said, wait a minute, let me go find my like-minded community. Let me be a part of that like-minded community in my vision. Then let me go over here and build my family for my family.
Mm-hmm.
So what's really crazy is I have cousins who've never stepped into my workshop. When I was on Oprah for The Secret, when I went to my next family gathering, my cousins were like, we're mad at you because you're keeping secrets. They thought that I was keeping a secret versus the secret being a project.
Wow.
They had never, to this day, 85% of my family has never seen The Secret. 85% of my family. 70% has never read any of my books. What my role in the family is to bring the peach cobbler with extra crust. I'm clear. I'm clear. But guess what?
Yeah.
But guess what? With them, I also get to be just little cousin.
That's right.
There's no expectation of me other than little cousin. Matter of fact, they've now become as my celebrity brand is built a bit, and I have less and less privacy. They're now my refuge because they don't ask me about nothing. This law of what? The law of you need to pass the plate, pass the salt, pass the pepper.
Right.
That is it. I mean, that's it. And you need to bring a dish.
Right.
I came back from being in Africa for a month, and I spoke to over 50,000 people in Africa. I had bodyguards, an entourage. I was on the ground 27 hours before we had a family gathering. When I walked through the doors, my cousin said, we know you've been somewhere around the world doing something with some people. Still, you better have a peach cobbler in your hand.
Okay, right. No matter what, you better have that peach cobbler, okay?
Right, and I was grateful that that's all I had to bring.
Yeah.
So just know that there are going to be people who don't get you. There's going to be people who don't understand why you're doing what you're doing. There's going to be people who appear like they're not supporting you. But a lot of times it's just that they don't buy into it because it's not theirs. It's yours. And quit trying to convert them to buy into it. Let them off the hook. Apologize to them. Say, you know what, I'm sorry. I was trying to get you to see something that I see clearly. You don't see it clearly. All you do is care for me. So let me take away your job description of having to buy into every single thing that I'm doing. And me calling it not supporting me. No, supporting you could be your husband. Look, baby, can you rub my back? That's supporting you. Now, you can make requests and say, listen, I have to birth this dream. I'm not expecting you to help me birth it because two people can't be in labor with the same child. Two people can't be in labor with the same dream. Think about it as if you're on the table in labor. Two people, can't nobody else push for you. You're the only person that can push. All I need you to do is hold my hand while I push. That's it.
Wow.
Isn't that juicy?
Yes, that's super juicy because I think a lot of people will be letting a lot of people off the hook because the expectation is if you don't support me, then you don't love me. You take that so personally, like, I'm doing this thing. Everybody can't be excited about what you're doing because, like you said, it's not their vision.
They don't see it. Listen, that's like you being 4 months pregnant with a child and asking someone, "Isn't my baby cute?" I don't know. It's still in your belly. No one can say anything about your baby until it's out. That's the same thing for your vision. I can't see it. You're the only one. You don't want to feel the baby kicking. All I can do is go, wow, okay. You want some broccoli? You want some milk? All I could do, just ask me for that. Don't ask me, is your baby cute when you're 4 months pregnant? See, what I got was, and by the way, in your vision, in your dream, you can be, look, here's the hard part. You can be impregnated with a vision for 3 years before anybody else can see it. Okay. So it's not a 9-month term. And because we have Google, we think everything's supposed to be Google. Google is just the internet, y'all. That's not your dream.
Yeah.
Your dream is not a Google download. You can't download your dream. You got to let it take shape. You got to let it grow. If a baby was coming out at 4 months, the doctors would be nervous. They try to find ways to keep the baby in so that the lungs can be fully developed, the heart, the limbs. The same way with your dream. You got to let it nurture. You got to let it sit in. We look at everyone to our left and our right, and we want to hurry up and push the dream out. You don't want to push it out while it's underdeveloped. It won't survive. Take your time with it. Nurture it. Allow people to nurture you, love you, but they ain't got to love your dream. They don't have to do that.
Absolutely. That is really powerful. And I know I can count people on my hands.
Some hands together.
Yes. Lisa Nichols, motivating the masses. What is next? What this last question, what would you share with someone who wants to become a speaker, who has something worthy of, that they deem worthy, that's their purpose, and that they've just, they're that little girl that wants to do something, or they're that woman that wants to shift and learn how to become a speaker and make an impact in people's lives? What would you tell them?
Wow. First of all, I would say congratulations, because when you understand your divine assignment in the world and you get that kind of conviction in your belly, it's going to be easy. So I got to tell you, congratulations, and you can't take the elevator to the top. You got to take.
Yes, absolutely.
So, yeah, I'll give you that reality check to say, find a mentor, find a coach, and make sure you stay hungry, hopeful, and coachable, and hook your caboose onto someone else's train, and hold on tight, and don't look left or right. Your life purpose, your life, this whole space that you're in, no one else can dictate it. No one else can design it. It's yours. It'll have pieces like other people, but it will be your unique masterpiece. You're your own Michelangelo. This is your own David. And no one else can do the masterpiece the way you can. And what I love is that you can fall down 1,000 times, because you only have to get up 1,001, just one more time. You don't have to get up 1,001 times altogether, just one more time. So your failures help you to build your tenacity. Fall downs help you build your resiliency. So don't look at a fall down as a fall back. Look at a fall down as a fall forward. In my get up, this level of conviction. In my get up, I learned this level of determination. In my get up, it amazes me when people in this climate where they've lost jobs, or the relationships have ended, or children are moving out the house, and everyone's like, oh, this is a setback. No, this is a setback for the next chapter. What are you talking about? I'm at a resort, a breathtaking resort, and about to teach millionaire entrepreneur women. So I'm teaching 195 women who all generate over $1 million a year in their business. So you're in good climate, girl. You're in good company, girl.
That is awesome. Thank you so much. And I think you have a couple things coming up as well. I think you have a summit this weekend, right, coming up, and you have the speaking right to make millions.
Right, I do. And here, let me give you a very special gift. Can I give you a crazy special gift?
Yes.
So I didn't get on this call expecting to do this, but I'm actually going into my contacts now to find this number. So I have a course coming up called Speak and Light to Make Millions. Every year we sell out. Every year we're a fire code hazard. We have to turn about 60 people away last year. So this year we're expecting that we'll have to turn away double. This is a course that teaches you how to own your voice. It's a course that teaches you how to stand in your power, teaches you how to build the platform called you. Even if you don't want to be a speaker, anything you do in life, you need to use speaking to help get you there. You need to use speaking to open the door for you. This course is designed for entrepreneurs as well, teaching you how to identify all the revenue streams, all the money that you're leaving on the table. When I tell you, when my coach taught me how to identify all the money that I'm leaving on the table, literally my company grew 258% in 1 year.
Wow.
1 year. So I want to give you the gift of the course is $597. However, I'd like to the first 30 people from this call, this is recorded, can come for free. So I'll open up 30 slots for your guests to come for free.
What?
Yeah, because I can do that. See, what happens when you do well in the world financially, then you can do more good in the world. So if you've been inspired by this message, you want to tap into more of this, you're ready to be radical, don't come if you just are curious on what it's like to be in my room because you're taking up somebody else's seat. Because it's guaranteed, in order to say yes to you, we're going to have to say no to someone else. And we have people, hundreds of people all over the world who literally will pay the fee and come. But I want to get you because I love what you're about. I love what you're up to. I want to support you in the community. You can take one of those 30 slots, so maybe there's only 29 left. But we're in San Diego. It's going to be on May 18th through the 20th. And, oh, by the way, we're having an amazing networking birthday party because my birthday is on the 18th. So that's the first time I'm having a public birthday party. And let me give you the number. It's 561-600-5472. Again, it's 561-600-LISA or 5472. If you text that number and if you text friend, FRIEN or FREIN, you can do either way because everyone imposes those letters. You can just text friend to that number. It's going to give you back a reply. You still have to register, and you can come to the training for free. You only need to pay your materials fee, and I think that's like $97 or something. But you can come for free. It's in San Diego. It's over Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. They'll tell you the hotel. It's beautiful. It's amazing. This is the course that literally has changed the trajectory of more people's lives because I show you behind the black curtain. I show you the mistakes I made. I show you the things I did well. I show you the techniques I made up that no one taught me, that had me land the secret, that had me land chicken soup for the soul contract. I even give you the proposal that I submitted that got funded. I mean, it's a juicy, juicy course. So the first 30
Wow. Wow, thank you so much. That is an awesome, yeah. I'll see you on the 18th. Yes. Right, because you should see, literally, I'm glad no one is in here with me because my mouth really was open the whole time you were just talking.
And you know why? Let me tell you why. Because if you're hungry and you're hopeful and you're coachable, then I want to introduce you to a community of hungry, hopeful, and coachable, brilliant people. Now, when I tell you there's going to be out of the 500 people, 400 will be some of the most brilliant people around the planet who literally can change the trajectory of your life. I gather people like that. That's who I play with. And you deserve that kind of break. You got to be hungry. You got to get on the plane. You got to get your hotel, and then $97. Good Lord, I remove our obstacle. Now you got to say I'm there. I tell people, listen, whatever you had on your calendar, if you're ready for that next level, then remove that to be postponed. Not because you're coming to see me, but you're coming for your next chapter. You're coming to make sure your chapter 25 is amazing. Your chapter 27 is amazing.
That is absolutely awesome. Wow, thank you so much. That is an awesome offer. Again, that number is 561-600-LISA or 5474, and I absolutely will be
5472. 5472.
Oh, 5472. Okay, I got excited. 5472. Again, 561-600-5472 for Speak and Write to Make Millions with Lisa Nichols, and I am just so honored to have you. Again, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been your host, Aprille Franks-Hunt, CEO of Women Recharged, and Lisa Nichols, motivating the masses, and we really appreciate her. Lisa, thank you so much for your time this afternoon.
You're welcome, Aprille. Thank you.